Children of Standard 6, in the previous class, I had started discussing about the processes to test the presence of nutrients in food. I had already told you about the process to test the presence of starch in food. Today, I will tell you about the process to test the presence of fat in food. I will take the example of butter and tell you about how to test the presence of fat in butter. The presence of fat in a given food item can be tested on the basis of the fact that the fats produce a greasy patch when rubbed on a clean sheet of paper. The greasy patch produced by a fat on paper is translucent, which lets some light to pass through it when the paper is held towards the source of light. So children, all of us know what does that translucent mean? A translucent object is neither fully transparent nor fully opaque, right? So, since some light passes through it, a greasy patch appears to be bright as compared to the rest of the paper. So, for the test for the presence of fat in food, we can test the presence of fat by an activity. First, we have to do, if we rub a small quantity of the given food in the center of the brown paper and hold this paper in front of a source of light and look through it, if the food has left a bright greasy patch, then fat is present in the food. So the food item being tested may sometimes contain a little water, which may produce a wet patch on the paper. So after rubbing the food item on the paper should be allowed to dry for a while. If a greasy patch remains even when the paper is dried, then the food item contains fat. If no greasy patch remains on the paper after drying, then the food item does not contain any fat. So let us start the activity. Rub a little of butter in the center of the brown paper. Then hold this paper towards a source of light. A bright greasy patch is seen in the center of the paper. The formation of the greasy translucent patch on paper shows the presence of fat in butter. We can also perform this experiment by rubbing a few drops of groundnut oil in the center of the paper. So butter is a soft food. Butter is a soft food which can be easily rubbed on a piece of paper, and some foods containing fats like groundnuts are quite hard and difficult to rub on the paper. So we can test the presence of fat in a hard solid food by the way, take a small quantity. We should take a small quantity of the hard solid food item and place it on a brown paper lying on a table. Crush the food item and then remove the crushed food from the paper and hold the paper towards a source of light. If the food has left a number of bright translucent spots on the paper, because there are many small patches can be seen after crushing the groundnut on the brown paper. So let us start an activity to test the presence of fat in groundnuts. We should take some groundnut kernels and place them on a brown paper spread on a table. Crush the groundnut kernels carefully by using a small hammer. Remove the crushed groundnut kernels from the paper and hold the paper towards light. A number of bright greasy spots that are translucent spots are seen on the paper, and the formation of many greasy patches on the brown paper shows the presence of fat, or you can say oil, in groundnut kernels. So these are the two activities to show and the test, how to test the presence of fat in butter and how to test the presence of fat in groundnuts. So this is all about the to test the fat present in the food. In my next class, I will tell you about the process to test the presence of protein in food.